discussing the electronic configurations of elements based on the three rules proposed: Above principle, Pauli's exclusion principle and Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. The conclusions of these principles: based on Above principle, we can get the sequence of increasing order of energies, that is 1s less than 2s less than 2p less than 3s less than 3p less than 4s less than 3d and so on. That sequence of increasing order of energies of orbitals can be known from n plus L rule as well as from Euler's diagram. Then from Pauli's principle, the conclusion is any orbital can accommodate a maximum of 2 electrons. In s orbital, 2 electrons can be accommodated. In p orbital also, we can accommodate only maximum 2 electrons, but in a p subshell, we can accommodate 6 electrons. You have to get the difference. In a p orbital, maximum 2 electrons can be arranged. P subshell has 3 p orbitals, px, py, pz. From those 3 p orbitals, 3 into 2, 6 electrons can be accommodated. Similarly, in a d subshell, we can accommodate 5 into 2, 10 electrons. In a d orbital, 2 electrons maximum, right, with opposite spins. So, any orbital can accommodate maximum of 2 electrons with opposite spins. That is Pauli's exclusion principle, and from Hund's rule, the information known to us is pairing of electron takes place. Pairing starts from second electron in s subshell, s orbital, fourth electron in a p subshell, sixth electron in a d subshell and so on. So, based on these three rules, we are writing the electronic configuration. In last class already the elements with atomic number up to 12, magnesium I think it was given electronic configuration. Now, we come to the other elements. Aluminum, atomic number of aluminum equal to 13. So, its electronic configuration is first 2 electrons are to be arranged in 1s, 1s2. Next 2 electrons must be arranged in 2s, 2 plus 2, 4 are over. Then 6 electrons are to be arranged in 2p, 4 plus 6, 10 electrons are over. After 2p, 3s, 2 electrons 12. After 3s, electron will be entered into 3p. So, 3s2, 3p1. The same can also be written as first 10 electrons can be written as neon within square brackets 3s2, 3p1. So, after the inert gas, in the outermost orbit we are writing the electronic configuration. So, S2P1 is the configuration. Then silicon, atomic number 14. So, it is neon 3s2, 3p2 and so on. If we take argon with atomic number 18, that is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4 plus 6, 10 plus 2, 12 plus 6, 18 electrons are over. After 3p, 18 electrons are over. Then potassium with atomic number 19, it is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6 and next electron will enter into which orbital? Is it 4s or 3d? After 3p, next energetic orbital is 4s but not 3d, correct? Therefore, 4s1. These 18 electrons now can be taken as argon in inert gas. This can also be written as argon 4s1. Similarly, calcium with atomic number 20, argon 4s2. Scandium with atomic number 21, argon 18 electrons are over, 4s maximum 2 electrons can be filled, 4s2. After 4s, electron will be entered into 3d. So, 4s2 3d1. Similarly, for the other elements also, you can write the electronic configurations by knowing the atomic number easily, right. But there are some elements with exceptional electronic configuration. Chromium with atomic number 24, expected electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 18 electrons are over. After that, 4s with 2 electrons, 20 and 3d4. So, this can be written as argon 4s2 3d4. This is expected electronic configuration of chromium as per the 3 rules known to us from the knowledge of Abbo principle, Pauli's exclusion principle and Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. The electronic configuration of chromium must be argon 4s2 3d4, but practically it is not correct. The electronic configuration of chromium is argon 4s1 3d5. This is correct. There is another such kind of element, copper with atomic number 29. First 18 electrons can be taken as argon within square brackets, then after argon 4s2 3d9 is expected electronic configuration, because D subshell can accommodate maximum 10 electrons. So, first 18 electrons are over, next 2 electrons are in 4s 20, remaining 9 electrons will be in 3d. So, argon 4s2 3d9. Again it is wrong configuration. The actual electronic configuration of copper is argon 4s1 3d10. Why it is so? Not only these 2 elements, chromium and copper, there are some more elements with exceptional electronic configuration like molybdenum, tungsten, and also in nickel family, palladium, platinum, there are some elements with exceptional electronic configuration. Here we are discussing chromium and copper. Why the electronic configurations of these 2 elements, chromium and copper, are not following the 3 rules strictly? That can be explained by knowing the shapes of orbitals and then symmetry of the orbitals and so on. First, I am giving the brief idea of the shapes of the orbitals, and after that I will explain why the electronic configurations of chromium and copper are in this way. In quantum numbers, we already discussed the shapes briefly. Here also, once again I am giving shape of orbitals. S orbital shape is spherical, you know the meaning of these dots, that is actually called probability. That complete information, complete definition of orbital and shapes of the orbitals you will know from the knowledge of Schrodinger's equation, but that I will explain when our regular classes are started. Here simply remember the shapes of different orbitals. S orbital is spherical and p orbital is dumbbell. But in a p subshell, there are 3 p orbitals, px, py and pz. Px orbital has the lobes along x axis Py orbital has the lobes along y axis, Pz orbital has the lobes along z axis. If it is x axis, if it is z axis, if this is y axis, it is Px, Pz, Py. For this Pz orbital, magnetic quantum number was given as 0. Here magnetic quantum number value may be equal to -1 or +1. If -1 is given for Px orbital, +1 must be given for Py orbital. So, that is why in the significance of quantum numbers, it is given to you as magnetic quantum number mainly signifies the orientation of orbital in space. For example, in a p subshell, if magnetic quantum number is given as 0, we can say that the orbital is oriented along z axis. So, by knowing the value of magnetic quantum number, we can predict the orientation of orbital in space. Similarly, d subshell has 5 d orbitals and it has a double dumbbell shape. If it is x axis, it is y axis, z axis will be like this. Actually, if it is x, it is y, z will be projected towards you in this way. If the lobes are oriented in between x and y axis, that is dxy orbital. If it is x and z axis, this is xz orbital dxz. If the lobes are in between x and y axis, the orbital is named as dxy. If the lobes are in between x and z axis, the orbital is dxz. If it is in between y and z axis, this is dyz orbital, and 2 more orbitals are there. The lobes may be oriented along the axis. If it is x axis, this is y axis, it is dx square minus y square orbital. The difference between dxy and dx square minus y square, in dxy lobes are oriented in between x and y axis. If this is x axis, this is y axis, lobes are oriented in between the axis this way. But in dx square minus y square orbital, the lobes are oriented along the axis, and one more d orbital is there, that is the dz square orbital. Here the lobes are oriented only along z axis, that is dz square orbital. So, these are the shapes of d orbitals. S orbital has spherical shape, only one sphere. P orbital has dumbbell shape, it has 2 spheres. If this is the nucleus of atom, on this side there is a sphere, this side also there is a sphere, total shape is dumbbell. D orbital double dumbbell, this is one dumbbell, it is another dumbbell. This is one sphere, another sphere, here one sphere, one more sphere. So, total 4 spheres, 2 dumbbells. These are the shapes of different orbitals, s, p, d orbitals. Of course, f orbital shape is complex, that is 4-fold dumbbell. Here there may be a doubt to you. In order to explain electronic configurations of chromium and copper, why you took the shapes of orbitals, that I will explain. In an atom, that is, if you take a multi-electron atom, there are some number of electrons in lower orbit and some number of electrons are there in higher orbit. First orbit has certain number of electrons, let it be 2. Second orbit, maximum number of electrons in second orbit is equal to 8, because second orbit has 4 orbitals, n square number of orbitals, 2 into n square is equal to number of electrons, because each orbital can accommodate 2 electrons. So, maximum 8 electrons can be placed. Some 1 electron I am assuming in this second orbit. The electron present in this second orbit will experience what kind of forces now? Is it the nucleus force of attraction alone, or some other force also may act on that electron? No doubt this electron is under the influence of this nucleus of atom. That nucleus has a tendency to attract that electron. That force is definitely there. In addition to that, the electrons present in the inner orbit will repel the electron or not. Between one electron and another electron, definitely there must be a repulsion. Correct? So, the electrons present in the inner shells will exert some repulsive force on the outer electron, right. Then what is the net force acting on the valence electron, outer electron? Net force acting on the outer electron is attraction by the nucleus minus repulsion by the inner electrons. For this repulsion by the inner electrons, there is a term given, that is called screening effect or shielding effect. Because these electrons are acting like a screen, the influence of the nucleus is not completely falling on this outer electron. Due to the presence of these two electrons, there is some decrease in attraction by the nucleus. That decrease in attraction by the nucleus due to the presence of electrons in the inner shells is called screening effect or shielding effect, because these electrons in the inner shells acting like a screen. These are filtering the nuclear charge. Complete nuclear charge is not influencing this electron, somewhat less nuclear force only acting on this electron. So, that force, resulting force of attraction is called effective nuclear charge, Z star, is equal to attraction by the nucleus minus screening effect or screening constant, or repulsion of the inner electrons. So, Z effective is equal to this attraction by the nucleus will be more if more number of protons are there in the nucleus, if more positive charge is there in the nucleus, the attraction over the electrons is more. More number of positive charges means more number of protons must be there, that is atomic number must be more. Therefore, with increase in atomic number, as the number of positive charges in the nucleus increases, the force of attraction over the outer electron is increasing. So, attraction depends upon the atomic number. If atomic number is more, attraction is more. Minus screening effect is a measure of number of electrons in the inner shells. If more number of electrons are there in the inner shells, that screening effect is more, and that screening effect is represented by a letter sigma. This is called screening constant. Is it clear to all of you or not? Once again go through that. The electron present in an orbit not only under the influence of the nucleus, but also experiencing some repulsions by the inner electrons. The repulsions caused by the inner electrons over the valence electrons is called the screening effect or shielding effect. So, the net force acting on the valence electron is attraction by the nucleus minus repulsion by the inner electrons. Attraction depends upon the atomic number, and repulsion will be increasing with increase in number of electrons in the inner shells. That screening effect will be represented with a letter sigma, that is called screening constant, right. Now, this screening constant sigma not only depends upon the number of electrons in the inner shells, but also depends upon the shapes of the orbitals. That is why I took shapes of the orbitals first. Then what kind of orbital can cause more screening effect? Is it s orbital or p orbital or d or f? Again, if it is the nucleus, first orbit, second orbit, suppose third orbit electron I am taking. On this electron now, if the second orbit has 8 electrons, 2 are in s subshell and 6 are in p subshell. That is the case with the sodium atom. 2 electrons in first orbit, 8 electrons in second orbit, 2, 8, 1, 11 atomic number, sodium atom is considered. Now, on this 11th electron of sodium, electrons present in the inner shells are causing some screening effect. That screening effect is more for which orbital? Whether s orbital has more screening effect or p orbital has more screening effect. One orbital of p subshell. So, s orbital and this p orbital, which causes more screening effect? As s orbital has a spherical shape, p orbital has dumbbell shape. In s orbital, the electron cloud is covered only this region, whereas in case of p orbital, the electron cloud is covered this entire region. So, electron cloud is spreaded in a larger range, whereas in case of s orbital, the electron cloud is in a small range. So, from second orbit, this is spherically shaped s orbital and it is dumbbell shaped p orbital. As electron cloud is distributed in a large range, large region of space, the tendency to repel this electron or the tendency to screen this nuclear charge is less for this p orbital. Again I am telling. As electron cloud of p orbital is spreaded in a large range, larger region, its tendency or its capacity to filter this nuclear charge is less. Simply assume that these orbitals are acting like screens. This s orbital electron cloud is in a small range. So, electron density is high. Within small range electron, within small area electron is present. So, its density is high, or you can imagine a thick blanket and a thin blanket. Whether screening effect is more for thick blanket or thin blanket. If the thick blanket is spreaded like this, its screening effect, its filtering capacity will be less. We can assume the s orbital and p orbital in the similar manner. S orbital can be assumed as a thick blanket and p orbital is a thin blanket. If that s orbital is elongated, if you are getting a p orbital, so which orbital has more screening effect? That is the question here. The answer is screening effect or sigma value of S is greater than p orbital. As compared to p orbital screening effect, what about the screening effect of d orbital? As d orbital has 2 dumbbells, the electron cloud is now covered more area, therefore, its screening effect is still less. So, screening effect of different orbitals S is greater than P, is greater than D and is greater than F. Clear? If screening effect is more, if the sigma value is more, what about effective nuclear charge? With a given value of atomic number Z, with increase in the value of sigma, Z effective will decrease, because more value you are subtracting from Z. So, effective nuclear charge decreases with increase in screening constant or with increase in screening effect. Is it clear to you or not? With increase in Z value, no doubt Z effective will increase, but with a given value of Z, if atomic number remains same, means within a given atom, with increase in the value of sigma, we can say that Z effective value will decrease. Effective nuclear charge decreases with increase in value of sigma. Correct? Now you come to the electronic configurations of chromium and copper. First you come to chromium. Atomic number of chromium is equal to 24. Electronic configuration is already given to you. It is argon 4s2 3d4 expected, which is wrong. It is actually argon 4s1 3d5. Tell me, in which case there is more screening effect? With this expected electronic configuration, 4 electrons are there in d subshell. With this configuration, 5 electrons are there in d subshell. In s orbital 2 electrons and d orbital 4 electrons. One which is causing more screening effect. If more number of electrons are there in s subshell, screening effect will be more. Am I correct or not? Now only we discuss it. Screening effect of s orbital is greater than that of p orbital, which is greater than that of d orbital. If more number of electrons are there in orbital with higher screening constant, that is in s orbital, sigma value is more. If sigma is more, what about effective nuclear charge? Effective nuclear charge will be less. If effective nuclear charge is less, we can say that with less force of attraction only, nucleus is, with a lesser magnitude only, nucleus is attracting the outer electron. Is it clear? So with 4s2 3d4 configuration, more number of electrons are there with orbital with higher screening effect, less number of electrons are there with orbital having lesser screening effect. But with electronic configuration of 4s1 3d5, only one electron is there with higher screening effect, more number of electrons are there with lower screening effect. So what is the resultant? In which case there is more screening effect? Screening effect is more with more number of electrons in s orbital. If screening effect is more, Z effective is less. If Z effective is less, the tendency to attract the electrons is less. That is, stability of the atom is less. Electrons are not tightly binded by the nucleus of the atom, they are free to move. You can easily remove the electrons, stability of that atom is less. Is it clear? So that is one of the reasons for electronic configuration of chromium as argon 4s1 3d5 instead of argon 4s2 3d4. So what is the reason you have to mention here? Due to more shielding effect of 4s orbitals as compared to 3d orbitals. Electronic configuration of chromium must be argon 4s1 3d5, but not as argon 4s2 3d4. Is it clear? Then there is another reason, that is symmetry of the degenerate orbitals. If degenerate orbitals have symmetric arrangement, then the atom will be extra stable. S2d4 configuration is this one. Correct? D subshell has 5 d orbitals, but only 4 electrons. So these 4 electrons must be arranged as per Hund's rule. So 4 electrons are there in 4 d orbitals and 1 d orbital is free. Is it symmetric arrangement of electrons or unsymmetrical arrangement? 4 are occupied with 1 electron, 1 is not occupied with electron, that is unsymmetrical arrangement. But with 4s1 3d5 configuration, all 5 d orbitals are there with single electron. That is d5 configuration. So symmetry is there with d5 configuration. Here all degenerate d orbitals are occupied with single electron, that is symmetric arrangement. Because of symmetry, atom is extra stable. Here that symmetry is lost, hence it is somewhat less stable as compared to this one. That is one more reason. And one more reason is there, that is exchange energy. Electrons present in degenerate orbitals with parallel spin. Electrons with parallel spin in degenerate orbitals, I am telling, will exchange their positions, because all orbitals of subshell have identical energies and electrons are there with parallel spin. There is no rule that this electron must be present only in this orbital. There are 5 degenerate d orbitals. All these 5 d orbitals have identical energies, and there are 4 electrons with parallel spins with the d4 configuration I am taking. Label these electrons as number 1, 2, 3, 4. First electron, second, third and fourth electrons. Now, can you say that the electron present in this orbital must be always in that orbital only? The electron may be present in this orbital or in this orbital or in this orbital. So, the orbitals which are occupied with electron with parallel spin may exchange their positions. During this exchange, electrons may lose certain amount of energy. If more number of exchanges are possible, more is the loss in energy, hence stability of the atom is more. Then tell me how many such type of exchanges are possible with the d4 configuration. 2 electrons may exchange each other. First electron may occupy the position of second electron and second electron may occupy the position of first electron. That is one exchange possible. Or first electron may replace a third electron and third electron may replace a first electron. So, 1-2 exchange is possible, 1-3 exchange is possible, similarly 1-4 exchange is also possible. So, exchanges I am writing 1-2 exchange, 1-3 exchange and 1-4 exchange, correct. Similarly, second electron also may exchange its position. So, second electron and first electron may exchange, that is already given, 1 and 2 exchange is already given. Second electron may exchange its position even with third electron also. So, because of 2-3 exchange, there is loss in some energy. Second electron may exchange its position with third electron, or 2 and 4 also may exchange each other, 2-4. Similarly, third electron, second electron exchange is already given, third electron, first electron exchange is already given. So, third electron with fourth electron, 3-4. So, what is the number of exchanges now possible? Here 3, here 2, here it is 1. 3 plus 2 plus 1. 6 exchanges are possible with d4 configuration for chromium. If the configuration is d5, now I am giving labeling these for these electrons as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tell me how many exchanges are possible? 1 and 2. 1 and 3, 1 4 and 1 5, 4 here, 2 3, 2 4 and 2 5, 3, 3 4, 3 5, 2 and 4 5, 9 plus 1, 10 exchanges are possible. Therefore, number of exchanges possible equal to 10 with d5 configuration and it is equal to 6 with d4 configuration. If more number of exchanges are there, more is the loss in energy, more is the stability of atom. So, chromium with which configuration is more stable, with d5 configuration or d4 configuration? The answer is with d5 configuration. So, extra stability of chromium with argon 4s1 3d5 is due to one reason is screening effect. With d5 configuration, the screening effect value is less, hence effective nuclear charge is more, stability of the atom is more. And another reason is symmetry in the arrangement of electrons. All degenerate orbitals with half filled configuration, atom is extra stable. And one more reason is because of more number of exchanges with electrons of parallel spin in degenerate orbitals, more is the loss in energy, hence this configuration is more stable. So, these are the three reasons for extra stability of chromium with 4s1 3d5 configuration rather than 4s2 3d4 configuration. Clearly, same is the case even with copper with argon 4s1 3d10 configuration. Again with 4s1 3d10, screening effect of d orbital is less as compared to s orbital. If more number of electrons are therein, the orbital with less screening effect, then entire screening effect value will be less, effective nuclear charge is more, hence copper is more stable with 4s1 3d10 configuration. That is one reason. Another one is all degenerate d orbitals, 5 d orbitals with 10 electrons, again there is symmetry. If 4s2 3d9 is the configuration, 4 orbitals are there with 2 electrons and 1 orbital is there with single electron. So, which is stable configuration? Is it d9 configuration or d10 configuration? Obviously, it is a d10. So, one reason is due to low screening effect, due to less screening effect of this d orbital. Another reason is symmetry of the orbitals with completely filled configuration, and one more reason is because of more number of exchanges with electrons having parallel spin. With this configuration, number of electrons with parallel spin is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 5 more electrons are there. So, total one set of electrons have one kind of spin, 5 electrons of one set has one kind of spin, 5 electrons of another set has another kind of spin, that is opposite spin. So, more number of exchanges are possible with d10 configuration, hence atom is extra stable. Clear? So, these are the reasons for extra stability of chromium and copper with argon 4s1 3d5 configuration and argon 4s1 3d10 configuration respectively, right. Then other aspect left in this atomic structure is magnetic behavior of elements, magnetic properties. In terms of magnetism, the substances are classified into 3 types, mainly 3 types. Those are paramagnetic, diamagnetic and ferromagnetic. Paramagnetic substances will attract the external magnetic field weakly, whereas ferromagnetic substances are able to attract the external magnetic field strongly. For example, iron, cobalt, nickel. If you place iron needle nearer to a magnet, it will be strongly attracted, that is a ferromagnetic material. Iron, cobalt, nickel are examples of ferromagnetic elements. There are some paramagnetic substances, those weakly attract the external magnetic field, and diamagnetic substances will be repelled by the external magnet. So, in terms of magnetism, the substances are classified into 3 types: paramagnetic, ferromagnetic and diamagnetic. The substances which are weakly attracted by the external magnetic field are called paramagnetic, and those which strongly attracted by the external magnetic field are called ferromagnetic, and those will repelled by the external magnetic field are called diamagnetic, right. So, in order to explain this magnetic behavior, or this magnetic behavior can be explained based on spin of the electron. In physics, you will study a property called electromagnetic induction, Whenever a charged particle is in rotatory motion, it will be associated with some magnetic moment. Electron is a charged particle, it carries current along with it. When that current carrying particle electron is in rotatory motion, it will be associated with certain magnetic moment. It will behave like a tiny bar magnet. Electron behaves like a bar magnet. And as electron has two kinds of spins, because of clockwise spin, it has one value of magnetic moment. Because of anti-clockwise spin, its magnetic moment just opposite to the previous one. For clockwise spin, if magnetic moment is in the north direction, for anti-clockwise spin, it will be in south direction. Is it clear or not? So, by the property of induction or electromagnetic induction, the rotating electron, that is the spinning electron, has certain magnetic moment, that is called spin magnetic moment. That spin magnetic moment may be towards north or towards south. Because of clockwise spin, if it has magnetic moment towards north, because of anti-clockwise spin, its magnetic moment is towards south. So, there are two kinds of magnetic moments, right. If all the electrons of an atom are completely paired, what is the net magnetic moment? Suppose there are two electrons in an orbital. One electron is shown with upward arrow, that is with magnetic moment towards north and magnetic moment towards south. Magnitude of this one and this one are same magnitude but acting in opposite directions, the resultant of these two is equal to 0. So, net magnetic moment of an atom is equal to 0 if all the electrons in that atom are completely paired up. If a pair of electrons is there in an orbital, for one electron, if magnetic moment is in the upward direction, for another electron it is in the downward direction, resultant of those two equal to 0. For example, neon. Neon electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. 1s has a pair of electrons, 2s also with a pair of electrons, 2p with 6 electrons, first, second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth. So, magnetic moment of this electron will be cancelled by this electron. Similarly, this will be cancelled by this one, this will be cancelled by this one. So, for all these 5 pairs of electrons, net magnetic moment is cancelled. So, total magnetic moment is equal to 0. That kind of substances are called diamagnetic. So, the substances with no unpaired electrons are diamagnetic. They will be repelled by the external magnet, right. But those with one or more number of unpaired electrons, resulting magnetic moment is not cancelled out, that kind of substances are either paramagnetic or ferromagnetic. For example, sodium, atomic number 11, electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1, that is neon 3s1. For the first 10 electrons, no resulting magnetic moment is left over, but for the 11th electron of sodium, that is present in 3s orbital, the magnetic moment of this electron is not cancelled by any other electron. So, resulting magnetic moment is not equal to 0, this is paramagnetic. So, what is the criteria to exhibit paramagnetism by a substance? The substance must contain at least one unpaired electron. So, the substances with one or more number of unpaired electrons are either paramagnetic or ferromagnetic, whereas those with no unpaired electron are diamagnetic. Neon is an example of diamagnetic, sodium is an example of paramagnetic atom, right. But ferromagnetic substance is a special case of paramagnetism. Example, you have to remember here iron, cobalt, nickel. In iron, how many unpaired electrons are there? Iron atomic number is 26, electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2, 3d6, correct? These two electrons pair, these two electrons also one pair, 2p6, 3 p orbitals, 6 electrons, 3 pairs, 3s orbital pair, 3p, 3 p orbital, 6 electrons, pairs, 4s orbital, 1 orbital, 2 electrons, a pair, 3d6, 5d orbitals, 6 electrons. First electron, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. So, how many unpaired electrons are there? 4. As there are 4 unpaired electrons, it must be either paramagnetic or ferromagnetic. Net resulting magnetic moment is not equal to 0 and it must be either paramagnetic or ferromagnetic, but it is actually ferromagnetic. It is strongly attracted by the external magnetic field, ferromagnetic, right. It is a special case of paramagnetism. This ferromagnetic, paramagnetism, all these you will learn again in physics in magnetism chapter. Here you have to remember that iron, cobalt, nickel are ferromagnetic and others with one or more number of unpaired electrons are paramagnetic and those with no unpaired electron are diamagnetic. Okay. And one more thing you have to know here is the magnitude of magnetic moment. How much is the magnetic moment? That magnetic moment can be known with a formula, that is square root of 4s into s plus 1 Bohr magnetons. Here s is the numerical value of spin quantum number. If there is one unpaired electron, what is the spin? Half 1 by 2. 2 unpaired electrons, 2 into 1 by 2. 3 unpaired electrons, 3 into 1 by 2 and so on. For each unpaired electron, spin is equal to half, either plus half or minus half. If 2 electrons are there with the parallel spin, what is the net spin? Half plus half, 1. If 3 electrons are there, 3 by 2. 4 electrons are there with parallel spin, 4 by 2. If n number of electrons are there with parallel spin and if they are unpaired, n by 2 is the total spin. So, substitute n by 2 if n number of unpaired electrons are there, 4 into n by 2 into n by 2 plus 1. This 2 in 4 2 times, 2n into n plus 2 divided by 2, 2 gets cancelled. This is square root of n into n plus 2 Bohr magneton, that is the unit of magnetic moment. Magnetic moment is represented by the letter mu. Magnetic moment mu is equal to square root of n into n plus 2 Bohr magnetons, right. So, briefly I am explaining all these again. The substances are classified into paramagnetic, ferromagnetic and diamagnetic. Diamagnetic substances are those with no unpaired electron. Para and ferromagnetic substances must contain at least one unpaired electron. If there are n number of unpaired electrons in an atom or ion, then magnetic moment mu is equal to square root of n into n plus 2 Bohr magnetons. If no unpaired electron is left, if all the electrons are paired up, n equal to 0, square root of 0 Bohr magneton, mu is equal to 0, right. That is diamagnetic. Now, questions can be given based on this magnetic moment. Find the magnetic moment of the following atoms or ions, like that. Find the magnetic moment of the following: nitrogen with Z equal to 7, sulfur Z equal to 16, copper Z equal to 29. Find the magnetic moment. Now we write the electronic configurations: 1s2, 2s2, 2p3. 1s is with a pair, 2s is also with a pair, 2p with 3 electrons. So, number of unpaired electrons is 3. According to Hund's rule, 3 p orbitals must contain 1 electron each. So, these 3 electrons are unpaired, these are not involved in pairing. So, n equal to 3 we can write. Therefore, net magnetic moment is square root of n into n plus 2, 3 into 3 plus 2 Bohr magneton, square root of 15 Bohr magnetons, correct. Similarly, find for sulfur and copper also. Then one more question I am giving: find the magnetic moment of the following ions: Mg plus 2, O minus 2, Zn plus 2, Fe plus 2 I am giving. Mg plus 2 ion consists of 10 electrons. Magnesium atomic number is 12. A neutral magnesium atom has 12 electrons. From that, if we remove 2 electrons, Mg plus 2 is formed, hence it consists of only 10 electrons. So, for those 10 electrons, you can write the electronic configuration, that is neon configuration: 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. So, no unpaired electron is left over, it is diamagnetic. Magnetic moment is 0. So, this is one way of writing the electronic configuration of a given ion. If a cation is given with a charge, say for example 2 units positive charge, from neutral atom you remove 2 electrons, for the remaining electrons you can write the electronic configuration, that is one way. Or directly you write the electronic configuration of the atom first, then remove 2 electrons from the outermost orbit. For magnesium atom you write the electronic configuration for 12 electrons: 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2. Remove the last electrons, because these are loosely binded by the nucleus, you have to remove these 2 electrons. Again the configuration is same: 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. So, there are 2 possibilities to write the electronic configuration of an ion: atomic number minus the number of electrons of the positively charged ion, or atomic number plus the number of electrons present on the anion, right, the charge present on the anion. O minus 2, oxygen atom has 8 electrons, O minus 2 has 10 electrons, again 10 electrons configuration is this one. Or oxygen atom has electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p4. This O minus 2 ion is formed by adding 2 electrons, those 2 electrons must be in 2p orbital. So, 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 is the configuration, this is diamagnetic. Then what about Zn plus 2? In the elements with atomic number Z greater than or equal to 21, you have to remove the electrons in a different manner. If you write electronic configuration of zinc atom, it is argon 4s2 3d10. Atomic number of zinc is 30, 18 electrons plus 2, 20 plus 10, 30 electrons. Or if 2 electrons are removed from this 30, for 28 electrons, electronic configuration is argon 4s2 3d8. D8 configuration 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 2 unpaired electrons left with D8 configuration. That is, if you remove electrons directly from zinc atom, 2 electrons are to be removed to form Zn plus 2. So, 30 minus 2 equal 28. For these 28 electrons, if we write the electronic configuration, we are getting 2 unpaired electrons, but which is not correct. In the elements with Z greater than or equal to 21, you have to remove the electrons first from 4s, then from 3d. So, remove 2 electrons from 4s. If you remove 2 electrons from 4s, argon 3d10 is the configuration. 5 d orbitals, 10 electrons. No unpaired electron is left over. Therefore, Zn plus 2 is diamagnetic, net magnetic moment equal to 0, but not paramagnetic with 2 unpaired electrons. So, in the elements with atomic number greater than or equal to 30, in order to write the electronic configuration of an ion, first you write the electronic configuration of the atom itself. From that, remove the required number of electrons, first from 4s, that is from outermost orbit, then from 3d. Is it okay or not? Not from 3d and then 4s. Remove electrons first from 4s, then from 3d. So, Zn plus 2 has no unpaired electron, it is diamagnetic. Actually, the reason for that is, after entering at least one electron in 3d orbital, 3d orbital will come closer towards the nucleus as compared to 4s. Actually, the energy of 4s is less than that of 3d. So, while filling the electrons, first 4s orbital must be filled. After completely filling this 4s orbital only, electron must be entered into 3d orbital, right. But after entering at least one electron in 3d orbital, energy of 3d will be decreased. So, after 21 electrons onwards, after entering electrons in 3d orbital, energy of 4s will be greater than that of 3d, that is 4s will be at far distance as compared to 3d from the nucleus of atom. That is 4s electrons are loosely held by the nucleus, those can be easily removed. So, after filling electrons in 3d orbitals, you have to remove first from 4s, then from 3d. Again from iron with atomic number 26, first write the electronic configuration of its parent atom, that is argon 4s2 3d6. Now, remove 2 electrons from 4s, 4s0 3d6. 5 orbitals, 6 electrons, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4 unpaired electrons are there. Fe plus 3, you have to remove one more electron, this electron must be removed, there are 5 unpaired electrons. Is it clear? So, some more questions I will give you in the next class with a worksheet, how to write quantum numbers for different electrons in an atom and how to find the magnetic moment. I will give you a worksheet and those questions we can solve.